guys, welcome! Today we're cooking an Anguish build, so without further ado, let's just dive right into it. The first thing that we have to take a look at is the prism that we're working with. Now, the fragments that we're using are pretty straightforward. We're using Gunfighter, Sapper, Mage, and Longevity. But the most important thing is the fact that you do need Wrecking Ball in order to make this sort of work. I do know that you can run this without the critical chance that this provides you, but to be honest with you, it nearly doubles the DPS that you're going to be doing, so you definitely want to be running this. For the Relic Fragments, you want mod damage, fire rate, and critical damage. This simply does give us the best mathematical addition to our damage, so these are just the ones that you want to run. The reason why we're not running explosive damage and we're running mod damage is because the bonus is the exact same. However, the mod damage actually benefits to our monolith, so that's why we prefer mod damage instead of the explosive damage. So, when it comes to the trinkets, let's have a look. The thing is that Anguish already has enough damage because of the fact that we're running Archon and Summoner. These two classes together give us a 120 additive damage to our explosions, or the ones that we have from our Anguish mod, so we do not want any more damage. What we want to do is take that damage and multiply it as much as we can. To do that, we have two sources of multiplicative damage. We have crits and we have fire rate. So those are the things that we want to invest in. That's why we're running the Gunslinger's Charm, which gives us 15% fire rate. The reload speed that it gives us is not exactly wasted since we're running Monolith and it has a pretty long reload animation. So even though it's not optimal in the sense that it's not going to be boosting our Anguish damage, it is pretty good just to be able to mob around and do things with the Monolith. Then we're running Burden of the Gambler and Probability Court for the exact same reason. We just want that critical damage. The percentage that it gives us when it comes to critical chance is completely irrelevant because we do have 100% critical chance on all of our explosions. And then we want Anastasia's Inspiration in order to have haste, which is more beneficial than the infinite damage ring, since it basically gives us not only fire rate, but it also gives us reload speed and movement speed, which is just all around better. Now, for the last slot, this is a flexible slot. You can run whatever you want with this. However, I do recommend running Black Cat Band if you're running solo Gauntlet, especially in APOC, because of the fact that given the fact that we already have that much damage, we don't want more damage. What we want is a way to survive and not to just throw our runs. So you could run more damage if you want to. You could go for either the Blasting Cap or something along the lines of the Burden of the Seolist or the Burden of the Destroyer. However, I do prefer to just have a more defensive ring on this slot. Now, for the mutators, Bullet Weaver is a must on Anguish. Previously, we run Feedback. However, since the game has had changes, we now prefer to go with Bullet Weaver since it's not bugged anymore. And it just gives us 20% fire rate, which is better than our neck. So basically, always run Bullet Weaver with Anguish. And then for the Monolith, we're going to be running Feedback for this very simple interaction. So if you fire Monolith and then activate the Anguish mod, you'll see that as soon as the Anguish mod runs out, you're able to activate it again. So it's going to run out in a second now. So as you see, as soon as the mod runs out, you can activate it again, and then with your Prime perk, and you'll be able to regenerate the mod on the Monolith. So if at any point you are able to just fire it again, you'll see that whenever the Anguish mod again runs out, you'll have it again, and you can loop these infinitely. Now, for the DPS that this build can do, without the bonus damage that it gets from the enemy's HP, this does up to 6k DPS, so it's a lot of damage. And the lower your enemy's HP is, the more damage you will do. So you'll get up to 12k DPS with just Anguish. Now, this is a very consistent way to deal damage, but the reason why I was advocating for Black Cat Band is because at the end of the day, you're running an explosive weapon that also has a delay on the explosion. So doing things like this happens all the time. And now since we're running the kinship trait, these explosions will not kill you by themselves, but look at this, like in APOC, if you're getting stunned for that long, you're going to die 100%. So that's why I recommend running Black Cat Band, since running Black Cat Band can actually give you one extra hit to die, and that can make the difference between living and dying in a lot of situations. So yeah, that is the build. If you have any doubts, post them in the comments, and I'll leave you with a couple of fights. So just enjoy the build and enjoy the fights. See you later.